Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Amma ba'da, habati fillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As'alullah kareem, Rabbil arshil azim, an yatawallana fi dunya wal akhirah. Habati fillah, continuing on in our series on reflections of the Salaf as-Salih wa Ahl as-Sunnati wal Jama'ah in regards to the Qur'an and how we should engage with the Qur'an and how they engage with the Qur'an during Ramadan and outside of Ramadan. And this is an important series for us to actually reflect upon and benefit from during the holy month of Ramadan in preparation for it and during it. Imam Salih Al-Uthaymin rahmatullah alayhi rahmatan wasi'ah, he stated that a person of sound mind is the one who, when he recites the Qur'an and contemplates over it, he becomes aware of the true value of the worldly life, and that it is of no value, and that it is only a place of cultivation to perform righteous deeds and actions for the hereafter. Therefore, look to what you have planted in it for the betterment of your hereafter. If you have planted good, then accept the glad tidings of reaping that which will bring you contentment. And if the affair is the opposite, then indeed you have lost your worldly life and your hereafter. Ahabati fillah, the Salaf as-Salih ridwanullahi alayhim, they used to say, ad-dunya dar al-amal wal akhirah dar al-jaza. The dunya, this life, is the time to do good deeds. And the hereafter is the time to reap those good deeds. That was the minhaj of the Salaf. The minhaj of the Salaf as-Salih, ridwanullahi alayhim, hakada. So it's very important for us, ahabati fillah, to make sure that we are on that prophetic minhaj, methodology. That we are reciting, reflecting on the Qur'an, and while we're reciting and reflecting upon the Qur'an, we are implementing that in our life, and that should give us the realization, as Imam bin Uthaymin points to, of how this life is temporal, this life is fading. This life, in essence, is meaningless if you're not using it in ta'atillah, obedience to Allah, on iman. So it shows us how important, how valuable our faith is, how valuable it is to practice, how valuable it is to seek the guidance from the Qur'an, how valuable it is to implement that in our lives. And seek to draw nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that way we reap good. We reap good. This life is fleeing. How many people do you know? I just met one of my ahbab, a beautiful brother I've known for many years. He told me he was 73. I was shocked. He looks good. Hafidhakullah. Allahumma barak. At the same time, it shows us how our lives are changing. And we're getting closer to the grave. We're not getting further. And how many people didn't even make it to 21? How many people didn't make it to 22? So use your time, which is invaluable, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by the time, wal asr, inna al-insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amalu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, fi kitab al-kareem wal asr, by the time, shows you how valuable time is. He swore by it, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by something, that means what follows it is very important. Pay attention to it. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Verily mankind is in a loss. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions the exception. Illa alladhina amanu, except those who believe. You have to have iman. You have to believe in Allah. You have to believe in Tawheed. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمَلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. They do righteous deeds. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. They call to the truth. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. And they're patient upon that path. That's from the Qur'an. That's from the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are the reflections that we get, and we understand from that the importance of believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and practicing your deen and being patient upon that path. Imam bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, if you see from yourself that the more you recite the Qur'an, the more your faith increases, then this is from the signs of triumph and success. But if you read the Qur'an and you are not affected by it, then you have to treat yourself. I'm not saying go to the hospital to take a dose of pills, fluids, or other than that. But what I am saying is that you must treat the heart. If the heart does not benefit from the Qur'an and learn from it, then it is a hardened, sick heart. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Shaykh al-Islam ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he states, the pure heart, due to its complete light, and it being free from filth and evil, does not get enough of the Qur'an, and is not nourished except by its truth, and is not treated except by its treatment, in contrast to the heart that Allah the Most High has not purified. For this heart is only nourished by nourishments that are in accordance to what is in the filth. Thus the filthy heart is like the diseased body. That which nourishes it is not like that which nourishes the healthy body. What's going to nourish your healthy soul? What's going to give you the healthy soul? It's your engagement with the Qur'an. It's your engagement with the Book of Allah. It's engagement in your practice, your reflection, your understanding of its meaning. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. May Allah bless us with the success of practice. Ibn Rajab rahimahullah ta'ala stated, how many verses from the Qur'an are recited to us, yet our hearts are like rocks or even harder? Think about that. Think about that in your life and in your practice. Imam bin Uthaymeen said, be careful always to examine your heart, for there may be a disease of doubts or desires in it, and everything has a cure, and the praise is for Allah, and the Qur'an is a cure for doubts and desires. La ilaha illallah. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala mentions the two ways in which the shaitan comes to us. Through shubahat wa shahwat. Through shubahat, through doubtful issues, and shahwat, and your vain desires. So do everything possible to try to fight and cure those desires by seeking to draw nearer to Allah, by reciting and reflecting on the Qur'an. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, to accept our good and forgive our evil, to protect us from kulli su'in wa makruh. Bless us with ikhlas wa thabat ala sunnati nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.